Assalamu alaikum, family. I was having technical difficulties this morning. I guess the devil was like, no, you're not going to be talking about these scammers this morning. And I'm like, oh, yes, we are. All right. So my computer decided to just I don't know, restart, do some crazy stuff as soon as but anyway, we're going to get started right here. Now I'm on. We'll pay some commercials, give y'all time to get in here. And we're going to talk about these scammers is what we're going to do. All right.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Happy Friday and assalamu alaikum, everyone. Man, y'all, I said that Hit Dogs was going to holler today, but I didn't know they was going to start hollering before we got started with the show. Oh man, look, I just had to come out here because I want to talk to y'all today about scammers. And in the business world, um, we miss this. We miss it all the time. And as women in business, and now as men in business, because a lot of women now are learning to do what the men do in business. Um, so interestingly enough, now I'm not talking about like you got these scammers where people will, accidentally get your code. You all know not to give your password out to anybody over the phone. If somebody hits you up, like say on WhatsApp or whatever, and says, hey, log into Facebook from here, blah blah blah, I know y'all know not to do that kind of stuff. We're not talking about that. Let me tell you something. Did you know that the same psychological scams that people use when dating, that they use in business? Same stuff. Same stuff. You know why you miss it and you get in business with people who ain't about nothing, or and this happens on both sides, right? Either you're the business person. I get it a lot as a business consultant because people want me to help them. And they rather not pay, or they're trying to find a way to get it for free, or they think if they're my friend or if they date me, or and a lot of people are so unskilled in business that they don't know how to decipher between the feelings that they're having when they're attracted to somebody physically and they want to date them or have sex with them versus a business relationship. And then you get even in another way, other people who just run these types of scams because they've seen it run on other people. And it happens all the time. And men in business, you got to be careful of it. Women in business, we have to be careful of this. Okay. Here's the first one. Love bombing. Did y'all know that people love bomb you sometimes and that becomes a scam in business? So they'll meet you, excuse me. Sorry. They'll meet you and be like, oh yeah, I really want to do business with you. And they'll start almost like courting you, almost like in a relationship, courting you, dating you, just constantly telling you how amazing you are in business and where you should be by now, that you should be so much further ahead. Look, I've been through this, and brothers and sisters, when they hire me as coaching and consulting, I hear it all the time and I recognize the language. And there's this whole concept of just love bombing people, where every time you look up, every time you turn on the computer, there's some kind of note from that person, and they're talking to you about the contract and talking to you about what they want to do. Let me give you the definition of love bombing before we go further, okay? Because love bombing in business is real. This is from a domestic violence website. And it says this. I'm going to read these two paragraphs. It says, have you ever found yourself in a wild romance where your partner showers you with gifts, tells you everything you want to hear, relates to you in almost every way, and next thing you know, and in little time at all, you two are moving in together? This happens in business. Okay, sisters, you will meet a guy. He will tell you how smart you are, how much he needs you in business. You may even meet another woman and they may business love bomb you. How smart are you? Oh my God, that company you're working for, they're not treating you right. They're not paying you right. If you're working for me, you'd be making X, Y, Z. Let me show you. Let me throw you a little business over here. And just like this domestic violence site says, you may want to slow down and be cautious. What does that mean in business? Slow down, get a contract, define the scope of the business, dot all your I's and cross out all your T's, because he or she just might be love bombing you. They're going to call you all the time, be asking you questions like, no one else can answer these questions but you. And as just like here, I'm not saying I want to knock off your desire to have a big contract, or that you can't have a big contract. Okay. But see, scammers are sociopaths. And this technique is often used by sociopaths, narcissists, and manipulators to take advantage of people. Okay. Listen, and some people, it's learned behavior. So instead of meeting you and saying, hey, I want to move into a contract with you, it happens to the best of them. People go to Hollywood and they get love bombed by executives in Hollywood. They get wooed into signing their life away, their soul away, some crazy contract. It's like the wolf in sheep's clothing. And as the victim, you may not realize that you're being manipulated, especially since it's something you wanted. You wanted that entertainment contract. You wanted that contract with this organization. You wanted that business so bad. And because you've wanted it so bad, it feels so comfortable. But it's just like a honeymoon phase. I always tell people, when you first get a contract, when you first get a job, there's a 90-day honeymoon phase. But in this case, you're being manipulated. And same thing for athletes. They're going to love bomb you and your family, come and pick y'all up, take you out to dinner, talk to you about how great of an asset you would be, buy you gifts. This is why at some point, these kind of things were illegal in both business, entertainment, and sports. But now people do what they want to do. They even do it in politics. They don't say they do. And they only get busted if later on they make somebody else mad and somebody decides to come after them. But the love bombing is very, very real. It's the constant talking to you. And then what, in true typical love bomb fashion, either you go into contract with them and you will more than likely find out that the contract or some of the terms of the contract are garbage. Usually won't see that until the 90-day period is over with. Okay. Or if you reject them, because one of the things about me, I love people, right? And as long as, if we talking and then we sharing information that I love to share, but that don't mean I'm going to go into business with you. So for me, what happens with me is by the time I reject the contract or kind of reject the advances, then they get mad. So you'll see that. And so sometimes after they get mad, true love bomb fashion, they may try to slander you. They may just decide, when I'm just not going to deal with them no more. Or sometimes they try to prove to you that that ain't what they wanted. But 9 times out of 10, you will find that when a contract or business is involved and that love bombing happens, that you need to look carefully into that contract. Look carefully into the terms. Look carefully into making sure that they can actually do what it is that they say they can do. Because that's another thing. People will love bomb you in business when they really can't deliver. And you can tell the difference between somebody with strong sales techniques versus somebody who's trying to love bomb you and put you in a situation where they're just beta testing their company on you, or they're not going to deliver. But love bombing is very, very real in business. And so many of us get caught up with that. I was talking to a lady the other day. Her son is a rapper, and her son is being love bombed by a major corporation, a music industry corporation. And because they want a deal so bad, the son wants the deal so bad, the mother is stuck in a time warp thinking that it's the 80s and 90s and that the deals are going to be the way she read about them being back in the day. They got a grandmother that's pretty active and with them, and she's caught up in the Motown days. And in the consultation we're having, the grandmother's constantly talking about how she's from Detroit and Barry Gordy used to send people to the house and they used to do this, this, and this. And the mom's constantly talking about how she used to hang out with certain rappers and she knows Meech from BMF and she knows about the industry and the game. And the son is just wanting it so bad. And I'm trying to tell them, look, they're love bombing you because these types of contracts don't exist for new artists today. I started showing, I say, your son has no sales. Sure, he's good. He's cute as a button. Look, I sound like the lady from The Boys. He's cute as a button. He can rap. He can sing. But they have no reason to sign him. They can't make any money off of him unless he's going to be used as an object, as a tool, as some kind of sex slave or something. But they can't, you can't even meet the terms of the contract because he has no following. He has no audience. So what I'm explaining to them is that you got to introduce something else into the mix, or you need to make sure that you are dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's, because I don't even think these people can deliver. These people it was a production deal for a major company. I don't even think they can deliver what they're saying. Okay. So, and the mom's like, yeah, but they'll, I've been around, they'll train him. I said, no, they won't. Again, it's not Motown. And if somebody brings you in and they do all of that, guess what's going to happen? They're going to take all their money back. They're going to charge you for that. It's going to be a loan up front. So all this love bombing is just to get you to sign a loan. You'll find that in real estate. We got real estate agents that do this where they try to love bomb you just to get your sale, to get a listing for your house. They're telling you. And if you just sit back and listen, and everybody that comes to the table, they'll say the same thing. Oh my God, you should see their house and da 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 da. And they do it every time. And if you just listen, you'll be very, very focused on and clear on when it comes to business, because people do it in relationships and they do it in business. Here's the next thing: gaslighting. Gaslighting is another way you get scammed. Believe it or not, gaslighting. I'm going to read from this domestic violence page what gaslighting is. So this term references a stage play in the 1930s titled Gaslight. And in the play, a husband who is trying to get rid of his wife's attempts to make her think that she is going slowly mad by making subtle changes to her environment. Okay, so he's trying to make her think she's going crazy by changing environments. And this is a ploy that can be used outside of dating and relationships. Abusers use this all the time. Gaslighting can be achieved through several different methods. Pay very close attention. If you are in business, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, this happens most times. I won't even say most times, but oftentimes to Black people in business. I just talked last night about being undermined and people not taking your mind or your intellect seriously. And this is oftentimes how we get scammed, because we get caught up in combating the gaslighting and we miss the agreement, we miss the contract, we miss the details that are right there under our nose. Okay, check this out. It says, in some situations, the manipulator could profess something so intensely, firm, and with confidence that they provoke the victim to doubt their own perspective and gut feeling. A popular example of this is when a speaker backs their argument with seemingly accurate historical facts, but they distort or omit certain pieces of crucial information in order to skew an image in their favor. Then they fiercely deny something. It could also be a form of gaslighting. So they may do something to you and fiercely, no, I never said that. I never said that you were going to get such and such per hour. I said that most of our staff members get that, or most of our contractors earn it. This is something that is often used by cheaters. They make their partners believe that their suspicions are just paranoia. They evoke deep thought and deep doubt, and the victim loses faith in their own intuition and maybe begin to believe that they are just overthinking things, that they're crazy, or that they should just calm down and trust their abuser. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you've seen this in business before, because I'm sure many of us have missed this, because we think of this stuff only in relationships. People will gaslight you. Let me tell you, I get it all the time. The gaslight part, I get a lot. I don't get the love bombing as much, although people who are amateur, they'll love bomb, and I'll just watch them get angry when I'm not going along with whatever it is that they said. I'm usually pretty strategic, but one thing about me, the way my brain works, you know how Kevin Hart said, the way my bank account works, the way my autism works, is that I usually can see several chess moves ahead. So usually I'm very well versed in the facts as I'm moving into a deal situation or moving into some type of business agreement. I'm usually not blind to the fact. But what I don't do is I don't go into the discussion just kind of regurgitating everything I know. And so people get mixed up. You know, they'll look at me and say, oh, she's so smart and she's so sweet and she looks so nice. And they'll start gaslighting. So if I say something like, wow, I've never seen an agreement with these kind of terms. And they'll say, oh, in our industry, this is what they do all the time, because they assume that maybe you've never done it before. I was talking to somebody the other day and we were talking about selling houses, and they were talking to me as if I didn't know anything about real estate. Granted, I've been in real estate since I was in my 20s, both on the sales side, the developer side, repairs, construction, you name it. And I'm listening to them talk. And sometimes I'll even ask questions. I said, well, you know what? What's customary in this type of situation? And they'll say, they'll make up something. And I say, oh, but I thought you said that, you know, and I repeat some of their facts, but they'll say, no. I didn't say that. What I said was in reference to something else. And they start gaslighting. Because what happens to a lot of people in business and in sales, what they do is they think that they have to lie and manipulate in order to get what they want. So they'll come to you and lie to you about something just to get something else. And they don't realize that when you're dealing with a smart sister like you sending yourself down into a rabbit hole. And guess who's going to get what they want? Moi. But most people don't realize that, because they've seen a technique. Even when you go to some of these sales schools, they'll tell you, well, what you do is when you show somebody a property, you show them something really expensive, way above their price range. And then you show them something really cheap, way below their price range. And then you bring them back to the middle, because really what you wanted was to get them to accept this price in the first place. Or if you're selling your car, they may say, well, we had this one that sold for X amount of dollars, and it may be way above your price range. And they'll say, well, we had that one that sold for only, 15,000, they'll be way below. And it's all a manipulation tactic to get you to move off of your mark. So let's say you wanted 20,000 for the car, but they really want to just give you 10. Then they'll use all these other techniques and gaslight you, so that when they come back and offer you, 7,000 for the car that you wanted 10,000 for, you'll take it, because they've manipulated your emotions so much that you go, okay. And you know what I do? If I were you all, I'll tell you something that I do. I sit there and go through the process so I can learn. I love to sit there and go through the process so I can learn whatever it is that they do. And then when they come back, I say, no, still want 10. And 9 times out of 10, they'll give me 10 because they don't even know how to get themselves in a position to even negotiate something less. It happens all the time. The gaslighting is very real. You guys that are if you're selling something, if you're buying something, be very mindful of the gaslighting. That's usually done around pricing when somebody's trying to cheat you or trick you. Whereas love bombing, they're trying to get you into a long-term or a contractual relationship so they may love bomb you, right? Like if you're an entertainer, whatever, it don't have to be that. It could be a job, but they'll love bomb, and the goal there is generally some type of relationship, just like in interpersonal dating, or something that they want out of it. And when you get gaslit, it's usually when they're trying to trick you into something. Oh, no, no, no. I never said our company had extensive experience in that. I said that I had extensive experience in that. Or, I never told you that would give you $10,000 for the car. We typically don't do that. Because normally, that's where the gaslighting comes in. Again, remember, a lot of times in business, people tend to either be sociopaths or they've learned techniques from sociopathic people. Let me tell you who the best salespeople are. A little unknown truth is those that just tell the truth. See, when you go into a transaction, let's say something like signing a big contract or selling a house. Let's use real estate. Oftentimes, you have all these players in the game. You got probably your lender, you got your attorney, you got the seller's attorney or the buyer's attorney, you got 2 real estate agents, and everybody's out to get, and everybody's looking out for themselves. So you may be experiencing love bombing from a bunch of different directions, or you may be experiencing gaslighting from a bunch of different directions, because everybody's trying to trick you into doing what they want you to do because they want to maximize their commission or their revenue. So you may be in the middle of a deal. It could be signing let's say you're a blogger and you have a podcast service that wants to sign you. And all the people involved, you had an agent, you got a manager, you got all these people. And believe it or not, a lot of times they're using different sociopathic techniques, each and every one of them, to get what they want. And a lot of times you truly do not have anybody on your side. So I'm going to say this to you. You step back, you make sure that you study what these deals look like, what they should look like, but most importantly, you figure out what you want. And you make a list of that. And so when you're being offered all these different things, you want to look at what it is that you want and bump that up against that. Even sometimes if you have an attorney, you like to think that the attorney is on your side, but sometimes they're not always on your side. Sometimes they're on the side of their ego, their fees, or something else. Sometimes these people go into cahoots with one another. They collude. And they're doing it because they all are seeing dollar signs. Oh no, this is a whale, this is a big fish. And they come together to figure out how they're going to take advantage of you. And remember, there's no honor among thieves. So this person who's over here talking to that person got that person thinking that y'all all on the same side and y'all all trying to get this commission, when that one person might just be trying to kill the deal altogether so they can take you over here to their friend and get some commission from you over there. So this is the thing. When you're doing any kind of deal, try to have somebody either in the deal that is truly on your side, or somebody outside the deal that you can run things past that truly has your best interest at heart, because you're going to be getting gaslit. You're going to be getting love bombed by all of these people who are just thirsty for a commission. And here's the other thing, and I've had to do this in negotiations. I've had to bring on somebody who I'm close to. And even though I knew that they were doing some love bombing and gaslighting, I had to say, okay, the devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. So because it was somebody I knew, and I know their personality and I could read them pretty well, I had been involved with them, I could read when things were off by how they responded. And so I was able to gauge what the sociopaths were doing in the deal by taking a look at this person who I had pulled in close to me. Oh, this is a serious game. Sometimes you have to play politics. And it's so hard. This is why I do these conscious entrepreneur shows, because it's so hard to deal with this kind of stuff. If we didn't have to deal with it, if people were just straight up and honest, we'd live in a much better place. But unfortunately, there are systems and processes in place, okay, that create these interdependencies. And that's what I mean when I say old business models no longer work, because these old business models make room for love bombing. These old business models make room for predatory behavior. These old business models make room for gaslighting. These old business models make room for all of this type of behavior that we're trying to get away from in the first place. Normally, and I know myself so well, that whenever I'm working on something and it's taking longer than it really should, is because I'm dealing with some sociopathic behavior that I either can't do anything about or that I don't recognize. Okay, here's the other way that we get scammed in business. Let's go back to our domestic violence article. It's called benching. Many of us, we've heard about love bombing, we've heard about gaslighting, but we don't know about benching. Again, and let me give you this example. And this is let me tell you how I discovered this and how long ago it was and how it has helped me to dodge some bullets. I've had some bad deals and I've gotten scammed, but probably nowhere near as much as I would have had I not had this experience with my father. My father used to, so when I first got my first jobs and I would be getting these different little contracts and stuff, I would go home and we would go shopping. And he loved to take me to buy shoes, and his favorite store in Omaha, Nebraska, the Hitchin Post, and he'd take me there and we'd buy shoes and clothes, and he'd look at it and I'd say, well, and then they got a golf outing. He said, well, let me see what you wear into that. And he would always coach me. And we didn't have these terms back then: love bombing, gaslighting, benching, ghosting. We didn't have that. So he would always say to me, present yourself in a way and don't go into the situation using the same emotions and emotional patterns that you would in a relationship. And be mindful when you're dealing with men. Now, you don't want to be too sexy, but then you don't want to, go in there like a schlumpadinka, and you don't want to go in there looking too matronly. But you want to be comfortable, but right there in the middle, but you don't want to be overtly sexy. So he would talk to me about hair and, clothes. I've always been curvy. So he would talk about how to wear things, because you don't want to ignite in men and make them turn on that switch. And I'll use today's terms, where they start treating you like they're pursuing a relationship, and they start love bombing and gaslighting and benching and moonlighting and all of that and ghosting. And I said, oh, but I always was very careful of that. And I would always make sure that I didn't interact with people in that manner. And what I've seen as a trend over the years is that baked into business practices, in best practices, and in sales programs are these types of interactions that a lot of people utilize, and it's almost like you can take the playbook and place it in a interpersonal relationship as if somebody's trying to date you, or you can place it right into the business world. The best thing to do in business is to be honest. One of the things I do, if a client comes to me, I'll let them know, look, here's my background, here's the way I think. This is why and how I can help you. These are the exact experiences I've had in your industry. And there's been times where people have said to me, do you have any experience? I say, you know what, I just had one. And I will be very straight up with them, and I'll be honest. Usually I'm the one who gets the job and I get the project on a long-term basis because I'm honest. And when you're in these types of situations, you got to be able to have somebody in the deal whose behavior you can calculate. Remember, it's all one big math problem. Okay. And in math, you got certain variables you need to be able to define. And when it's somebody like me in the deal, I'm that variable that you can define, because I'm going to be very honest and I'm going to tell you straight up. I'm not going to love bomb you. I'm not going to gaslight you. I'm not going to bench you. I'm not going to do any of that, because I'm just going to be straight up. Look, this is what I'm dealing with. This is where I am. And we make a deal. And usually people don't mind going above and beyond for you if you're straight up and you're honest. When you're lying and you're love bombing, thank you, Sister Aletha. I gave you a birthday shout out, girl, yesterday. I'm going to get you another one later today. Yes, thank you. My father taught me that. So when you move into these situations, have a variable in the deal that you can calculate. Don't be in that deal with a whole bunch of people and you can't tell where they are. And don't you assume that you know. Write stuff down. Do your research. Let me go to this next thing. Benching. And Dad didn't have this sophisticated terminology. He would just teach me. If I was in a situation where I was trying to get a contract, I'd call him on the phone and he would just talk to me, but he always would take it back to basic relationship stuff. And look, here we are years later, and that was back in the 90s and 2000, mainly in the early 2000s. Here we are now 20 something years later, and these are mainstays in business negotiates. It could be female, male, female. It doesn't matter. People use these techniques. Here's the next one, benching. I'm going to read this. It's from our domestic violence article. With the use of technology on the rise, the online dating culture has influenced modern relationships and the issues that single people face. Let's relate that to business. With the use of technology on the rise, online business deals and online business interactions have influenced, right, our business and professional relationships and the issues that we face as business people. One such issue is benching. Though this existed long before technology, online dating or online doing business or doing business online has encouraged the practice of benching. Now, here we're going to go into dating. You got apps like Tinder, Bumble, Grindr. They have made finding a new partner fairly easy so that with just one swipe, we can begin chatting with a completely different and new person. It's the same thing in business. Okay. We're all out here attracting business y'all know why this is happening, right? It's happening because we've allowed pop culture, what we define as pop culture, to creep over into the business world, especially now with the way that we are doing business online. And I tell each and every one of us, don't fall for it. See, they like to take celebrities, and this is a side note. They like to take celebrities and supermodels and parade them in front of us and say, this is your model for being a business person. This is the entrepreneur of the year. So what we do, we go out and we model ourselves after that person, and we get online and we wonder why people are using these techniques on us. Let me keep going. Okay. With a matter of time, they say, next thing you know, you could be chatting with a completely different or a new person. Thus, this feeling that there is always someone better lingering in our minds causes us to avoid commitment. Benchers keep their options open in order not to make a wrong choice. Now, this behavior is becoming normalized in professional business. Why? Because people are independent contractors. People don't want to commit to a job. Nobody wants to work nowadays, but it can still play a toll on you if you're the victim of this. Okay. So you may hire somebody to do a job. Again, remember, they're in their mind from a pop culture standpoint. So what are they doing? In the back of their mind, there's the grass is always greener. I've had this happen with employees that I've hired, interns, even on different projects that you wouldn't think it would be happening on. I'm trying not to say no names or no specific situations, but people will always go, oh, there's something better. Or they may look at you and go, they're looking at you like they're dating you. Oh, she could be doing this better. Or he could be doing this. I don't know why he ain't got this or that. And then they always feel like there's something better. So they don't commit to you. So they don't commit to building the business. They keep all of their business, potential business partners, I should say, at their disposal so that they don't feel like they don't have anybody. So therefore, they never really become a part of building something big. See, I'm the kind of person, what I do is I like to involve people at the ground level in business. So as my business grows, you become part of the checks that flow. And I learned that my business partner, we built the hospital. That was our underlying agreement with one another. Look, we're going to ride this thing till the wheels run off, and we're going to share revenue. We're going to share in the risk. And we were very blessed because we were committed to that. Even when he saw flaws in me and I saw flaws in him, we made a commitment. Even when employees got crazy and things, we made a commitment to each other like, look, let's hang in there. Okay. So the victim feels that they're being toyed with. So a lot of times I get people all the time say, you know, I hired this person or they're a contract. I feel like they're playing games with me. And they're just at the point of giving up and moving on. Just forget it. I can't. And then all of a sudden, the person who benched them, they reappear and they help them out. And it gives you a false sense of hope as a victim. You start to make decisions based on that level of insecurity. Look, talk to me in the chat if y'all know what I'm talking about. Here's what you do here. Again, it's all about scope and expectations. What is the scope of the project? What is the expectations? And I'm going to caution those of you who like to operate like this. And you may meet somebody and go, you know what? I'm a bench Sister Sajdah and her project for right now. And I'm going to go over here to this because I think I can make a couple extra dollars over here. And I'll try to see if I can come back to her when she gets a little bit further down the road because I can't really commit. You don't get to come back. And this is why a lot of times these quote unquote people that call themselves freelancing and doing this kind of thing, this is why when you see them, 9 times out of 10, they're broke. And 9 times out of 10, they don't have a steady flow of money. And 9 times out of 10, they ain't making no money. And when you walk away, see, here's what you'd be better off doing. Since you're a narcissist, you'd be better off gaslighting and love bombing me and staying on this long-term project than going to another one and playing games and thinking that you benching me and you're going to come back. See, smart people pick up on these emotional games. So don't do that. Let me tell you something. And this is for a lot of our young people because I see this a lot among a certain generation. You'll come around. You see something is at the beginning stages. Maybe the limelight's not there. Maybe you saw me on the news, or maybe you saw me and you saw maybe the minister said my name, or you saw me on the stage in DC and you saw me going up to the House of Representatives to present and you saw me doing these things. And then you just went, yeah, I want to be a part of it. And you became a part of it and you realized, ooh, This is real work. She doing real stuff. Yes, because the only way you're going to learn how to build your own business, build your own projects, manifest on that dimension where you see something in your mind and it materializes. The only way you're going to learn how to do that is to be around somebody else that does it. And then you can skip some of those pitfalls. That's not the only way you're going to be able to do it. That's why I hesitated. But one of the easiest ways to do it is to get around somebody else who's done it. And in this generation, it's going to be hard for you to even get close to somebody who operates like that. So if you have any chance, I say stay there and hang in there. Because if you bench that person and you think you're going to come back, and let me tell you something. Sometimes you may say, well, you know what? I got to get a job. I got to get a bigger job. Then what you do is you tell that person, hey, Sister Sajdah, I got to go work this job because I just graduated. I got my student loans and I know you can't pay me that much. Or maybe the project is new and it hasn't started yet. But I still want to see what I can do on a part-time basis. Stay there. Stay there. I've listened. Let me tell you something. Y'all like to compare yourselves to white people. I've been around a lot of white people in business, and they generally always got some kind of pet project with a friend or a family member that they working on or lurking around the edges, around the periphery on, that they're going to end up, it's going to pop. And then they're going to come quit the job and say, oh yeah, my cousin opened a hedge fund. Or I've seen this so many times. I've been on a project. We had a guy who was a lead. I got a lead on a project one time because the guy came in that Monday morning after we had done all the scoping and everything. He said, hey, my cousin just opened a hedge fund, so I'm out of here. He quit on the spot, not even a 2-week notice. It was good for me because I got the project as the lead. But the point being is that be very mindful of that. Because had I walked away when my business partner couldn't pay me what I ended up earning on the project, or we couldn't exchange that much money, had I walked away then, there wouldn't be no Sajdah House. There wouldn't be a lot of things because I wouldn't have been able to be in that situation to be able. Thank you, Brother Lamont. I think Brother Lamont has to go. Thank you, sir. I would never have been in that situation to be able to have a certain aspects of that environment that was safe, which gave me something that my mind could calculate and rely on so that I could build upon. I hope y'all getting this. I'm covering a lot of information fast because tomorrow we're going to go through another aspect of this. Here's the last one, ghosting. And I was a few minutes late, so we're going to go over a few minutes. Hopefully y'all can stay with us. We're going to go to about 7:05. Ghosting. Ghosting is another thing that happens to us in business that oftentimes we really don't even recognize because we only think of it from a relationship standpoint. But again, remember, these pop culture sociopathic behaviors have crept over into the business world. And I am surprised at how many so-called professionals love bomb, gaslight, bench people, and ghost people. Now, ghosting is similar to benching. This is according to our domestic violence. And notice these are defined in domestic violence. But in business, we may not put them in a violent category, but this is domestic violence. When people do this to you in business, they play with your money, they play with your potential to get money by using these kind of techniques. And we miss it and get scammed and taken to the bank because we ain't paying attention. Because we think, and it's what they taught us, that everything is separate. Spirituality, business, relationships, mindset. No. It's all the business of life, as the minister teaches us. Now, let me go by ghosting. Let me go over ghosting. Ghosting is similar to benching. However, while benching keeps various partners on standby, so when you're benching as a professional, you have several different people, but you have them on standby, not several clients. But benching is when you have people on standby. So you go from this one to this one to this one. It's like being a cheater. You date this girl as long as she gets along with you. You date this boy as long as he's giving you some money. You date this That's what benching is. Not where you got a lot of projects going on. I'm somebody that has a lot of projects, or you may have more than one client. I'm not talking about that. Benching is where you're playing people and you're really only there for what you can get. And then the minute that person changes or you can't get what you want anymore, you keep them on ice and you make them think you're coming back and you go to the next one. But ghosting is different. Ghosting completely cuts off the connection with no intent of speaking again. The reasoning behind ghosting is that the person being ghosted will eventually realize that there is no more interest and just move on. But that may not always be the case. People dislike having someone to let them down, so they just avoid communication altogether. So you may be talking to somebody about business and all of a sudden they just disappear. They avoid communication. Most of the time when you're ghosted, you're shocked because sometimes it's all of a sudden they just up and leave, or you just don't hear from them anymore. And you're confused about, wait, what happened? What went wrong? We're working on something. It's actually a form of emotional cruelty, as the victim is now dealing with feelings of social rejection. Well, you're dealing with being undermined in business. You've given up your trade secrets and all of a sudden that person is gone. Okay. And guess what? It's not going to be good on your end either when you ghost somebody. But ghosting is very, very real in business. You be talking to somebody, they all of a sudden they was love bombing you, they was courting you, telling you, look, we got this deal available for you, we can ready to sign you. You got your parents involved, you got your grandmama talking about Motown, you got your mama talking about the 90s days, and you ready to go, and then all of a sudden you don't hear from them. They don't answer the phone. Don't call those people and beg them to come back. Don't do everything you can to get them back, because 9 times out of 10, you dodged a bullet. Real quick, let me tell you how these things cause us to get scammed in business. Okay, we're going to talk about other forms of scamming, but these sociopathic behaviors are the biggest way that people trick us into bad contracts. They steal from us using these behaviors, or simply just waste your time. Love bombers generally are just trying to distract you from something that's bad in the agreement or something they don't want you to see. That's usually them trying to distract you. When you see somebody and they've been love bombing, when you finally get that contract, you better read over every fine line, including all the tiny little details in the bottom. And you better get an attorney or somebody to work with you to review that, who has not been part of the love bombing process. That way they can see and ask you questions that you may need to take back to the person. Okay. A lot of times, gaslighting, when a person is gaslighting you, it's because, again, they're trying to trick you into, generally is something specific that they're trying to get past you in the deal, in the negotiation, in the relationship, in the situation, that they don't want you to notice. And it's usually because of their either inadequacies, maybe they can't deliver on the contract, or maybe even they're just lying and they're being deceptive. So gaslighting is usually a little bit more specific, and oftentimes in business is directed towards that person that's trying to get you to not see that they're a fraud or a scam. Okay, so they start running that game on you to try to get you to think that you're crazy. And then next thing you know, you'll listen to them. So they want to try to usurp your intelligence with their game. And so then now you go, okay, I see. I think I can trust them. When you get benched, usually those people a lot of times just don't know no better, but oftentimes they're just trying to use you. They had intentions upon using you. And so when a person that's a bencher comes to the table and you don't give them all the flowers and all the money and all the checks and all the glam and all the glory that they thought they were going to get, they will bench you And usually they'll bench you because they want to keep a relationship with you, but they'll go somewhere else where they think they're going to get more glitz, more glam, more attention. And 9 times out of 10, they'll come back. And when they come back, it's up to you to decide. Now, sometimes for me, when people are young, if they're young professionals, I'll allow them to bench. When they come back, I'll make sure that there's a very clear delineation of the scope of what they're going to be doing of the project. And then I restrict them when they come back to some type of salary and make them work their way back to like a production bonus or a partnership, which may be something I offered at the beginning. And I'll say this to you, a lot of times, and I had to learn this, I always wanted people to share in the revenue and be part of the productivity. So I would bring people around and say, hey, I'm working on this project. When I get it up off the ground, thank you so much, Brother Stanley, appreciate you. When I get it up off the ground, I want you to be a part of it. I want you to have a position, but I want you to get 10% or revenue share. A lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people are really only just looking for money. A lot of people are really just only looking for an employer. Some people just want a job. They don't want to be your business partner. They don't want to be a producer. They just want to come there, sit there, figure out how they can steal time, do 1 or 2 things, get a check and go home. And if you're in a position where that doesn't work for you, then if they're benching, let them go. Okay. And then ghosting. Ghosting is often used when people come into a situation, they have something very specific that they want from you. They either get it from you, could be information, could be money, could be access. People use connection to you to leverage whatever they needed. They will use that and then they will ghost. They'll disappear. Or they came into the situation and they didn't get what they want. They didn't get it. They're like, this is taking too much time. She's too complicated. She's too this or that. They got to think something negatively about you. Some of them will use a lot of deceptive intelligence, say, oh, you're too good of a person. But they'll ghost because they realize that the price that they'll have to pay for whatever it is that they want from you is too high. And so they'll just ghost. And they may pop in every once in a while to say, hey, I was going through something, but that will happen. So when we go against all these signs and all these things that we're seeing, this is when we put ourselves in a position where we're getting scammed in business. You ignoring the love bomber, then you sign a contract, and next thing you know, it's like, uh-oh, I signed a bad deal. You're avoiding the gaslighter. Next thing you know, you got somebody all up and in your organization that ain't legitimate, that don't have your best interest and don't even want to be there. And they may be setting you up to scam you, steal money from you, or just use your name to associate. See, because everybody's in this pop cultural sociopathic type of mindset, if they can just put your name on something, put your company logo on something, or people like to lie. Oh yeah, I helped Sister Sajdah do that. I built this or that for her. Or I provided this service or that service. Or they may say, let's say you're in a certain industry. Let's say you're in financial services and they helped you, or they claimed they was going to help you build a website. Well, now that they've been seen with you publicly, you post a few pictures. This is why I don't post pictures with people unless it's somebody that I know I'm solid in business with. You see me, I don't post a lot of social pictures or a lot of playful type of pictures because I know that most of y'all are in this pop culture sociopathic type of mentality, and you don't know how to discern that or differentiate that from a real business deal. So I don't play. I pay for it because oftentimes many people don't know what I do. And then they come in a situation and they try to undermine my mind. I even had somebody one time say to me, well, you're supposed to have all these business clients. You're supposed to know all these people. I said, yeah, and I don't have to show you my resume. I don't have to share with you all my clients. But what happens is if they can be pictured with you, they can be seen with you, they can put it on their social media page or in their circles and make it look as if they've got some stronger connection with you than what they really do. And that may put them in a position to leverage to go out and get money or do something for somebody else. From somebody else. Good morning, 704 Joe. Peace, peace, peace. So these are techniques that you got to know. So when you're using social media, I coach people on this all the time in my consulting practice. When you use social media in your business and you have a social media presence, be very careful. Do not get intimidated and insecure and start trying to compete in a pop culture manner. So if they tell you that Rihanna is the entrepreneur of the year, let Rihanna be entrepreneur of the year. Don't you come out there tomorrow and you a business consultant, a business developer, you sell insurance, you own a HVAC company, and now all of a sudden you dressing like Rihanna. Or all of a sudden you got your muscles out like somebody that you saw because they told you they was top in business. Do not fall for it, because guess what? The real people, the real big people with the money, the checks you want to get in front of, they're not going to respect that. When they comb through your social media, you need to look like you're about business. You need to look like somebody that somebody will want to give a check to. And depending on how much money you're looking for, you better make sure that you look like that money. So I want to look like somebody that you could trust me with $1 million. You could trust me with your business, because not only am I going to get your business off the ground, your business is going to be successful, it's going to scale, and it's going to multiply. And if you can look at my pages and tell that you probably can get some real good, solid information, but you sure ain't going to look at it and say, oh, no, maybe not. So be very careful. Some of us like to party. We like to kick it. And it's okay to post that kind of stuff. But make sure that you're posting it in between your things that you're posting that establish you as the subject matter expert. If I'm looking for an HVAC person, somebody to come put my heating and cooling in, don't let me go to your social media page and it's all you partying with your frat boys. That's not going to make me say, might make me say you could put the heating and cooling in my auntie's house, but you're not going to get that big $20 million project that I'm working on with your site looking like that. If you're a consultant or an advisor or anything like that, people need to see you looking like you can give them some advice. If you got muscles, got your shirt off, you looking cute, of course you want to be attractive, but that's what you got to think of. And I look at it all the time. I see, when I look at my client sites, I say, let me see. Would I hire you for a small catering job? Probably. But would I put a big catering job in, like if I'm doing a convention and I got a $50,000 catering job, and am I going to give it to you based on how your site looks? If I got $10 million I want to invest, do you look like you can invest my $10 million? So what you want to make sure is that your social media pages are cutting through this pop culture, sociopathic mindset and behavior. You need excerpts that talk about, that show you presenting and in your line of work. You need excerpts that are showing you doing business, showing your intellect, showing how smart you are. Give people advice, give them some tidbits. And you don't need to show how much you like to party and how cool you are. And that's not necessary. Not when you out here trying to get in front of these checks. Make your social media platform represent somebody who can be trusted with millions of dollars. Okay? You want to be careful. Man, my father used to coach me on this. He'd be like, that's too sexy. Nah, I don't think you want to do that. So you want to be careful. It's a time to be sexy, and it's a time to get out here and get your business. It's okay to be soft and show your femininity. But do you need to pop off with your stripper culture in the name of, oh, but I'm a educator? Be careful. Be very careful. You know, you know people are in this mindset, so give them a little hint that you find, but be careful. And brothers think that it doesn't apply to them. This applies to you as well. It used to not apply to brothers as much. When my father was coaching me on it, it didn't apply as much. I would have, I remember selecting my senior pictures, and I remember just picking different ones so that when that senior picture gets seen by potential employers or business people, I would be seen in a certain manner. You don't need to look like the cute little sexy thing that man or that woman who's preying on you, you ignite something in their brain. And now next thing you know, they're love bombing you. They're putting you in positions where they're treating you like you're in a relationship. It's because you present like that. One thing you won't catch me doing is I'm never going to downplay my brain. Because God deposited some stuff in me and my parents invested some stuff in me. I'm going to open my mouth and run my mouth and show you what's here and what I know. And I'm going to show you how smart I am. And guess what? You still ain't going to get all of it when I show you. So be very, very careful. Okay, y'all. I'm going to get out of here. We're going to come back for part 2 on this. Sorry for being late. I was having some technical difficulties. Part 2 is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Central Time. And we're talking about how to avoid putting ourselves in positions where we're getting scammed. We got bad contracts. Some of us can't even get a good deal. And we wonder why. Well, let's talk about why. All right, let me acknowledge y'all. I see y'all. Assalamu alaikum. That's Magnolia Crescent Orchards on there. Sister Aletha, shout out to her. Gave her a birthday shout out yesterday. It was her birth anniversary. You could celebrate yourself all weekend, sis. Love you very much. I talked about how, look, I know you since you was like, girl, you don't know Jodeci? And I was like, no. And she played Jodeci for me over the phone. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling that. But yeah, we was two 20-something silly little girls working very hard for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And our time together was mainly just laughing and being silly. And we kind of made a joke out of everything. So made it fun. And so I'm so grateful for your friendship, sis. Grateful for your sisterhood. And I'm praying we got 50, 60, 70 years more of just hanging together, making money together. I'm grateful. And we work on projects on a long-term basis. And all of these techniques that we're talking about, they don't exist. So anyway, 704 Joe says, good morning. Okay, we already acknowledge him. Thank you to Brother Stanley, to Sister Aletha, who hit that super chat button, gave us a love offering this morning. Thank you to each and every one. If you got anything out of this information, and I'm telling you, this is going to help you in business, give us a love offering. We want to keep this platform going. Y'all see, I'm trying to expand. I've been talking to people about doing the Produce show. I know y'all probably going to miss these live, so we're trying to figure out how to do it. But if nothing else, we're going to change locations and flip it up and flip it around and do something different. Go on vacation, have some guests come over and have coffee and talk. We're going to do some stuff. So hit the super chat. Give us a love offering. Go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, SAJDAH Enterprises. Support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. If you don't have your commemorative Elijah coin, go to supportsajdahhouse.com and get your commemorative Elijah coin. And if you want to book me for a money psychology session, emotional intelligence training, if you want help with scaling your business, expanding your business, identifying vendors, cost savings in your business, any type of business development stuff, let me tell you, any problem you having in business, go to book SajdahWendyMuhammad.com and set up a consultation. 9 times out of 10, if you pay for the first one, I'll give you the second one free. Or we'll work out some kind of deal so that we can get your business off the ground. But you got to pay. Okay. I can't give you the game for free and work for free. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all very much and see you all, inshallah, tomorrow morning. Peace and blessings.